Hello, today we're talking about Devara, directed by Koratala Siva, starring Junior India, Janvi Kapoor, and Saif Ali Khan in the leading roles. I actually recorded this review last week, but due to some technical difficulties, I actually recorded this video last week, but due to some technical difficulties, it didn't come out as well. And so I have to re-record it, which is why I'm doing it again now. But one good thing that sort of came from it was that I had a chance to sort of think about the movie more, and it didn't exactly help my perception of the movie in any way to make it better. So I'm not gonna give a brief of the story or anything, just skip directly into the review because I have so much that I want to talk about. Just to put it briefly, I don't want to sugarcoat it. Is this movie bad? Yes, it definitely is bad. I guess the bigger question would be, is it as bad as Acharya? And I would say no. But that is in no intention that I'm recommending this movie in any way. To start off, I'm gonna work my way from the stuff that I liked to the stuff that I didn't like, and then we'll sort of talk about everything on the way. The stuff that I liked would be some of Anirudh's music. The Ayuda Puja song was nice, and the main background music of the movie came out well. The main background music being the one that was in the glimpse or the announcement trailer and the glimpse, and then I think it shows up for a brief couple of seconds in the trailer, but that's the only tune which actually worked for me. Everything else, all the other BGMs and OSTs in the movie just exist. They're very mediocre. They're just background noise. They never really elevated the moment for me as much, especially in the second half, which we will get to. But none of the music really lent itself to the scene, and hence it was never really exciting in that regard. The songs especially were very menial and expected. For example, like the Fear song just came and went as I had imagined it, just to be a montage within the movie, and that's exactly what it was. The Chuttamale song just came at a random time where no one would expect it to come, and then it just shows up. And then shocker there, the heroine never shows up in the movie after that point. Slight spoiler, I guess. But and the Dawoodi song was completely removed from the movie, which sure, because they have no other spot in the movie that they could have actually even stuck it in, so they just used it as a promotional material, which sure, fine, I guess. Beyond that, just briefly touching upon the acting in the movie, I would say Junior NTR was fine. I know a lot of people are saying like, oh, he's incredible and he was the saving grace, but he really wasn't, I guess. It's not anything that we haven't seen for him before, and I don't completely blame him. Again, I kind of blame the material that he was given. He was expected to deliver a role such as Devara or Vara with the bare bones minimum of a character with no depth in him, and so he had to deliver that kind of performance, and it's not anything that Junior NTR has never done before, and hence no moment in the movie was I excited or wowed by his acting, and the movie never gave him a moment to shine. And I don't really blame him. He was okay. And the same goes for all the other actors. They barely had anything to work with. Saif Ali Khan just existed. He just was there. I barely think he could do much. I don't even know if he understood what his dialogues were, so it was difficult for him to emote those same emotions. Janvi Kapoor, I don't really want to talk about. Like, there's absolutely no reason. They forgot about her, so I'm gonna forget about her too. And all the other side actors just come and go as they please. No other character really has as much character as we would have expected because of all the material that they said beforehand. Okay, so now that all of those are out of the way, let's get to the main rant that I have about this movie and why I am so frustrated with it as much as I am. The biggest blame and the one to blame for this, I would say, is Koratala Siva. He didn't really have a two-parter story. He never really had the skill to narrate that kind of story. To be frank, his world building isn't as good as other directors are, and I think he knows that. He had scenes written out, he had mass elements to connect everything, but he had no screenplay to make everything cohesive and coherent. And it shows. It's that lack of screenplay that really frustrated me with the movie. The movie makes the biggest mistake any movie could, and that it's boring. It's frustratingly slow and boring. There are no seminal scenes that spark conflict. Everything is mostly just one tone and just supposed to be taken at face value because that's how we're presented it. Everything in this movie was just set up for something that we're supposed to hope that we will see someday. But I might seem to be overly fixated on some of these things, but these are the basic fundamental necessities of writing a good screenplay. And it's because of not following these rules that you have this jumbled up narrative that could have been in a sub 2 hour movie is now a 2-parter. I remember in an interview when Koratala was telling I remember in an interview where Junior NTR was explaining why they decided to make it a 2-parter, and when he said that Koratala on the first edit of their movie and they got around 4 hours worth of footage, then Junior NTR told him to keep writing and to go for it and to build the world even more. But this is exactly what goes against everything that you're taught in film school. For us, when we went through writing classes, when we did all that work, we were told that once you're done with your script and you're ironclad sure that that's what it's going to be, they make you cut off 10-15% just to make sure that it's as tight as it can be. And Koratala never really followed those kind of rules in this movie, and it really, really shows. Why did similar 2-parters work, right? Why did Pushpa and Bahubali, why did those work, whereas this one frustrates you? It's because those movies weren't just set up for a second part or a conclusion, but instead had their own events happening within the movie that sort of built that drama, and it came up naturally when the ending and you were excited for the next movie, because those movies follow the same structure as this movie, where the ending or the final conclusion of the first part is supposed to be a massive twist and supposed to get you excited for what happens in the second part, and it's supposed to make you wait for it. And this one has a scene which no one cares about, honestly. It makes no one really saw it as instead you have a movie where the first half is supposed to set up the second half, but it sets some things up, and then the second half sets up the second movie, and hence you just have this, you just wasted the 3 hours of just setup with zero payoffs, and it's just boring. The scenes and sequences that you hyped us up for, like the Ayuda Puja scene, or the last 40 minutes that are gonna make the audience at the edge of their seat, all were very basic and minimal, but out of the slog of other nothing, those are the only scenes that you could hype up for. And even they were mediocre at best. It's just a sad experience, especially for those who went in to this movie with the load of expectations, such as myself. And just to end off, I would say that there's nothing wrong with ambition, but there also has to be a check. You have to keep that ambition in check, is what makes a beautiful final product. But yeah, that's my thoughts for this movie. I will catch you in the next one. Thank you.